So this in of itself is a lot, but what I'm gonna do, I'll be back, is I'm going to reveal the aspects, because the aspects are what's actually important. The aspects show me how exactly, like, my coming into a new country affected me. You know what I'm saying? Because the stars, it's the concept of as above so below, meaning that the things that are happening up in the sky are going to be happening down here. You do got to understand that it's astronomically it said that Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto, their moons go the opposite way of all the planets internal to Saturn. So Saturn to Mercury. In astrology, we consider the sun a planet, but it's not because we don't know that the sun is a star. It's just a terminology thing. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so it's a real deep thing. Even the fact that Saturn is the boundary to physical reality, which is reflected by Jupiter, Mars, Venus, the Earth, the Earth is actually the accumulation of all the like when all the planets, all the ingredients come together to make the cake is actually the Earth. You know what I'm saying? So it's a real deep thing, and when you get rid of the concept that they told you and you replace it with the truth, life just opens up and you feel like you got a lot more access. You know what I'm saying? So it's a very mental thing. It's just them using like phallus religion, right? Phallic religion, you know what I'm saying? To essentially like fuck our brains, rape our minds, like I shouldn't say fuck, I should say rape our minds, because it's like when you see from my perspective, right? Because it's like you gotta understand. Oh my god, what did I just do? It's okay though. So you know what I'm saying, when you understand and when you yeah, when you understand and you know astrology at the level that I do, right? But on top of that, when you understand like the correlation between astrology, tarot, and Freemasonry, you know what I'm saying? On top of that, when you kind of know what they're doing, where they're getting their power from, where they're getting their source from, you know what I'm saying? When you're at that level and you're at that perspective, then you really, really, really see how evil these people are. Like, why would you do that with like something that we all have access to? Like, because they aren't powerful just because they're who they are. They're powerful because of what they do and what they practice. They are Satanists, right? And you gotta understand, the word Satan comes from Saturn. Meaning, they are Satanists, that just means that they rule Saturn. But the thing about Saturn is, Saturn governs everything from Saturn to the sun, right? All of that is Saturn's dominion. Saturn is considered the boundary line for all things material, for all things earthly. But beyond that, right, once you get to Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, these are archetypes, because the planets aren't literally, I already said that, right? They're not literal things. They're pointing to something else, you know what I'm saying? When you know what that something else is, it's a real deep thing. And I teach that in my courses as well, you know what I'm saying? It's a real deep thing. It's like you're supposed to build in the astral world. And then once you have something in the astral world, like, it can be a person. Like, you can, because the way you build in the astral world is through your mind. Like, when you're in your imagination and when you're engaging in your thoughts and your feelings. And I also have courses coming out that'll help you understand how to do these things, because these things are important, you know what I'm saying? And that's like mental and spiritual alchemy, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, this domain, you can build things in it, you know what I'm saying? Like, one of the things I do is I make music, right? I make music. And here, I'm going to play one of my songs for you guys. Take a closer look, I teach people how to rule the stars. How to rule the stars, how to rule the stars, how to rule the stars. Learning the capacity for your soul to mold reality. You are a reflection of divinity. For you are L, you are all, you are L, you are all, you are L, you For you are all you are, L you are all you are, L. I'm a youngin', but I remain the elder forever. I'm a scholar of the master's craft, of the master's craft. My life is a book, and I am the author. So this is another layer to this chart that I was showing you guys. You know what I'm saying? This reveals more so how the planetary alignments in the sky were influencing me. So as you can see, there are primarily four aspects. You know what I'm saying? The blue aspects, you know what I'm saying, they signify harmonious aspects. But then there's just one specific aspect from that's happening to my sun from by Pluto, you know what I'm saying? So the transit in Pluto was exactly 28 degrees Sagittarius. But then I have my sun at exactly 28 degrees Gemini. You know what I'm saying? So what happens is this creates a tight and perfect opposition. And we'll get into briefly, of course, because it's very deep enough for me to really get into it like that. So briefly we'll get into, you know, the impacts and the influences, because the whole point of this is just to help you guys gain a greater awareness of just how brilliant and significant astrology is, and how it can be a great tool added to your inventory. You know what I'm saying? So, alright, first and foremost, I think we should talk about the negative first. You know what I'm saying? So, the way that these energies work, you have to understand is when you are talking about astrology and you're looking at symbolism and things like that, it's more of a esoteric language. You know what I'm saying? It's more of a language of the subconscious mind. You know what I'm saying? It's more of a language that deals with the subconscious mind. So certain influences that affect us and impact us, especially when it comes to astrology, they are more subtle. You know what I'm saying? The influences are more playing behind the scenes type energy. You know, we're not aware of it because we're never really conscious and aware of what astrology is doing. You know what I'm saying? Because it's all behind the scenes energy. So anyways, when it comes to this Pluto Sun opposition, what you guys need to understand about Pluto's effects and transits in general are long term. And this is literally the chart for when I came to America, you know what I'm saying, from Africa to the so this is another layer to this chart that I was showing you guys. You know what I'm saying? This reveals more so how the planetary alignments in the sky were influencing me. So as you can see, there are primarily four aspects. You know what I'm saying? The blue aspects, you know what I'm saying, they signify harmonious aspects. But then there's just one specific aspect from that's happening to my sun from by Pluto. You know what I'm saying? So the transit in Pluto was exactly 28 degrees Sagittarius. But then I have my sun at exactly 28 degrees Gemini. You know what I'm saying? So what happens is this creates a tight and perfect opposition. And we'll get into briefly, of course, because it's very deep enough for me to really get into it like that. So briefly we'll get into, you know, the impacts and the influences, because the whole point of this is just to help you guys gain a greater awareness of just how brilliant and significant astrology is, and how it can be a great tool added to your inventory. You know what I'm saying? So alright, first and foremost, I think we should talk about the negative first. You know what I'm saying? So the way that these energies work, you have to understand is when you are talking about astrology and you're looking at symbolism and things like that, it's more of a esoteric language. You know what I'm saying? It's more of a language of the subconscious mind. You know what I'm saying? It's more of a language that deals with the subconscious mind. So certain influences that affect us and impact us, especially when it comes to astrology, they are more settled, you know what I'm saying? The influences are more playing behind the scenes type energy. You know, we're not aware of it because we're never really conscious and aware of what astrology is doing, you know what I'm saying? Because it's all behind the scenes energy. So, anyways, when it comes to this Pluto Sun opposition, what you guys need to understand about Pluto's effects and transits in general are long term. And this is literally the chart for when I came to America, you know what I'm saying, from Africa. So it's deep that there was an opposition between my sun and Pluto, you know what I'm saying? So Pluto is in Sagittarius, but it's in the 4th house. And this is the house that deals with those private manners and private affairs, that deal with the home, you know, which is actually very, very interesting. Because so before we talk about Pluto in the 4th house, let's kind of look at my sun, which is Gemini at 28 degrees in the 10th house. And I have my chart in front of me, by the way. That's why I'm looking at it. That's why I'm looking down. So with me having my sun in the 10th house, and I already explained to you guys that the sun deals with what it is that we bring attention and focus to, what it is that we wish to bring life into, you know what I'm saying? The 10th house is the house that deals with status, it deals with recognition, it deals with business. The sun in general also deals alongside focus and what we want to bring attention to. It also deals with what we are what we are given attention for, you know what I'm saying? So that's why, you know, I saw with me having the sun in the 10th house, because the 10th house is a house that deals with the public world, you know, and it deals with like things like people with status, whether that be people of power, you know what I'm saying? People who are in power positions, whether that be like Loki, the father, or the mother, you know what I'm saying? It's interesting though, you know, yeah, so like whether it be the father in the house, right? He's the 10th house because he's the one who's in control, or it be the president, that's the 10th house role, or you be your boss, or be your supervisor, your manager, you know what I'm saying? It's like whoever is in that position where you have to kind of look at them or for them for guidance or instruction, you know what I'm saying? That's 10th house energy. Like the Pope is a 10th house individual with a 9th house influence, like me, you know what I'm saying? Like I have, not that I want to be like the Pope or anything like that. Hell no. But what I'm saying is it's a similar ball game, you know what I'm saying? The Pope, he is put on a hot pedestal, not a pedestal, on a stage, a worldly stage where everybody sees him and gives immense to him, and he's given like jewelry, you know, he's always wearing like all these things, which are all symbols for success, which are all 10th house things. But it's like what the 10th house is dedicated for and orientated towards, the stage he has, it's all about 9th house things, right? He's preaching, he's teaching religious things, he's coveting books and all that good stuff, you know what I'm saying? All 9th house energy. And 8th house too, there's a reason why the 8th house kind of just, you know, had to express itself, because a lot of the things they do in the Vatican and everything like that, a lot of it is secretive, you know, they gotta keep it behind doors because it's not godly. And when they say in God we trust, you gotta understand that when they say in God we trust, they're not, well, they are talking about God because they made God up. You know, God is a man-made construct, right? Just like we made up the devil, we also made up God. I'm not saying there isn't a God, but it's more so like that little word God is pointing towards something greater, something bigger. But what they did is they externalized that which is greater and bigger, that actually exists within you and you have access to, and they externalized it outside of you, and then they gave you certain practices and rituals that are fruitless. That's why we still have wars. That's why we struggle for simple things, like for necessities. Like like we shouldn't live in a world where people have to struggle for simple necessities, where people have to fight just to survive. That's demonic, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's evil. That is a product of an evil mind frame, you know what I'm saying? Because before anything is physical, it has to be mental. So there's a group of people out there that are creating these mental frames, and then once they create them, they put us in a mental space, whether that be through the music that they release, or the movies that they release, or the news, right? Because that's another pillar to talk about. But it's really like they get us through because it's their religion. You gotta understand, it's their religion. So they indoctrinate you by instilling in your mind this practice of going to their indoctrination camps every Sunday, where you go and you sit there and you think you're worshiping. And in a sense, yeah, you are. Well, let's not even get into the etymology of worship, you know what I'm saying? Just think war and shit. Just think war and release the shit. Why is there... Because what a lot of people don't understand is nothing is accidental. All of this is someone's craftsmanship, you know what I'm saying? And now they're just... It's like the original OGs crafted this system, like, you know, George Washington. He was less of a puppet than Donald Trump. Donald Trump, 100% puppet. That wasn't real. He didn't dodge a bullet because of God. Well, he did, because it was staged. And a Mason staged it like that. They're like, all right, so and it probably was some fucking catch up on his ear, you know, everything. Why didn't nobody? It's just staged. Why didn't nobody run? Like, no, I'm not that dumb. I'm not that dumb. I'm not that dumb. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So if I get sucked into that, let me get back into this. But yeah, you know, so 28-degree, 10th house sun. So for me, I need to focus on creating an energy of value and significance, like, that can be utilized for the world. Like, that was an okay way for me to articulate that. Essentially, the sun in the 10th house, this is a placement, I mean, that deals with purpose. These are the because opposed to the 10th house is Pluto. And it's interesting how I have Pluto with Pluto. So when I came to America, Pluto was in the 4th house, because the 4th house represents, like, the home, even if it's like your country, you know what I'm saying? And like my new home, America, you know, which is signified by this chart, you know, because the event that happened all is a result of that above playing out below, you know what I'm saying? And it's like the home, right, which is the 4th house, outside in the transit in the sky, is in Pluto, in Sagittarius, opposing me. Sagittarius is like philosophy, and like, it's like, what am I doing right now, you guys? I'm actually sitting, and through the stage I've created for myself, going against the way that things are ran on this land, you know what I'm saying? But it's beyond this land. When you really get deep into it, you realize that they gave a version of what they do, a version of their system, to like low-key Japan, China. Like, you gotta understand the United Nation. You gotta understand that there is such a thing as the United Nation. So these mother truckers are working together, you know what I'm saying? Like, what is the United Nation? What's the purpose of that? It's not there to stop wars. Nothing. It's just kind of a subtle way of letting you know, like, oh yeah, you know, we run the whole world, pretty much, you know what I'm saying? It's their mental illnesses, and that's what you gotta understand about missionaries. Like, are you really gonna go to a poverty-stricken